Namaskar, dear devotees and friends. This Wednesday evening, let us start reading the Panchama Veda by chanting this mantra as usual. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kabi virilitam kalmashapaham sravana mangalam srimadatatam bhuvi grinanti e bhurida janaha. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, while discussing with the devotees, he remarked, why doesn't man's mind dwell on God? So he is asking this question and giving the reply also. Why doesn't man's mind dwell on God? So immediately he is giving the answer. You see, more powerful than God is his Mahamaya. The Mahamaya is power of illusion. So that is, he always feel that is more powerful. Oh, we can understand that. He is so powerful. When you are thinking that we should do this, but we can't do something or other, in our thought it comes and it deludes us. So much of ego, so much of, as we call it, the emotion that makes us bound in this world. Where from it comes, we don't know. So that even then we are bound by this, each and every one of us. And very few can go beyond it. So sometimes I feel like thinking in this way, what is this Maya? That I am hearing some sound and I am thinking that inside the room there is a ghost. The child is thinking in that way. Then a mother comes and says, let us go and talk to the ghost. So we both are there, so don't be afraid, and we will go and talk to the ghost. And she enters that room and put on the light. There is nothing. Then you say, you see, there's nothing. So you are imagining the ghost and then you are afraid. And similarly, we are imagining this whole world, our friend, our foe, and all these relations, and we are suffering. And why? Because that imagination, where from that imagination came? The God's power, Mahamaya. Why it is? That is his play, the divine play. In Sanskrit it called is Leela. Why Leela? That we cannot answer. No one knows. God himself divided into so many varieties and playing in his own way. So that is the Vedanta. But how I, an individual, like to go out? Because at this moment I am thinking this body, this name, this mind belongs to me. And I am suffering automatically. I have to go beyond this. How? That is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is advising that you have to go beyond this. More powerful than the judge is orderly. So everyone is under the spell of the world bewitching Maya. And whose power? God's power. How can we go beyond this power? By requesting God or realizing God with the help of God. Only God can save us from this terrible Maya. Just imagining and suffering. This is very peculiar. Sometimes we have seen the doctors are trying to help those people. They are just imagining that somebody is criticizing, somebody is trying to harm, somebody is doing this. All imagination. They also sometimes feel, but they cannot go beyond it. That is the Mahamaya. And he is telling in this way that he too comes under the spell when the God assumes a human body. Even the God assumes a human body is under the spell. But there is a difference. Why? He himself, the God, is playing him, but any moment he can go out. That he is telling. The Ishvara Kotis, divine incarnations, for instance, can liberate themselves whenever they want to. This is the difference. Jiva Koti, Ishvara Koti. What is the difference? Knowledge. What is that knowledge? The Ishvara Kotis are the avatars, are the God, and naturally the power of God is very much present in them, and they are aware about this. Like the story, the child and the mother both are entering into the dark room. The mother knew that there is nothing, no ghost is there, but the child was thinking ghost is there. So that difference, both are there, mother and the child. Ishvara Koti, Jiva Koti. The child may be representing Jiva Kotis, and Jiva Kotis, the individual like us, we are afraid of suffering, afraid of death, afraid of losing, so afraid of failure. So where all these fears are coming? Imagination. And there is actually nothing. So that Sri Ramakrishna is trying to, this knowledge he is trying to give to us, and how he is giving it? Ishvara Kotis, divine incarnation, for instance, can liberate themselves whenever they want to, but the Jiva Kotis cannot. Jivas are imprisoned, lost and gold. This desire, the terrible desire, and to satisfy the desire, money. So this too binds them. Again, the Girish Ghosh is mentioning, if a man is so strongly tied hand and foot, then what is his way? What he will do? Now, because of the Maya, the terrible Maya that is controlling us, the human being, we are talking about the human being, why not about the animals? Why not about the other species? Because we can understand that desire to go beyond this has not come in them. This is only in the human mind, that too a very few. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye. Kaschid yatati. Trying. Yatati means trying. Kaschid. Sometime. And who? Manushyanam, among the human being, because they have the mind, they have the thinking capacity, they have the discriminative faculty, they can judge, they can understand. Even then, among these group, forget about other species. Among this group, the human being, only handful, a few, they want to know about God. Who is this creator? Why all this? They think in that way. And what happens afterwards? Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati, they try to siddhaye, they try to become successful to know. Yatatam api siddhyanam, and those who are trying, among them, kaschin mam vetti tattvata. Only a handful, even among those small group, a very microscopic people, they will be able to success. So that is the power of Maya, the delusion. There are so many people are trying in so many ways, and they are actually deceiving themselves. They are thinking this is the way I am going to realize God, and his ego slowly cover, and he thinks I am all right, whatever I am thinking is all right. So this is the problem. That Girish Ghosh is telling, but our hands and feet are tied. What you will do? Then Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, he has nothing to fear if God himself, as the Guru, cuts the chain of Maya. Now here there is a chance, as we were discussing, Whose power is this? God's power. Who can control this terrible power? God Himself. So what we should do, what is that Veda, what is that knowledge, what is that scripture? This teaching that you have to go to that level where God will help you to go beyond this. He will remove whatever the spell, the maya, it was there, He will remove it, and He will see, oh, it was all, nothing was there, I was unnecessarily afraid of all this. And then what will come? Fearlessness. Abhayam. Abhaya means there is no fear at all. Why? I am not going to lose anything, because I don't have anything to gain too. So that condition is called God-realized condition. So who can do it? Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna giving the hint. He has nothing to fear if God Himself, as the Guru, cuts the chain of Maya. And Master Mahashaya commenting, is Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna hinting that he can cut the chain of Maya as Guru? Of course, that is true. The Sri Ramakrishna giving the hint, and he is telling, see, if it is God, then there is no problem. If the God becomes the Guru, then there is no problem for you too. And only we have to have the faith. So Sri Ramakrishna's way, the path, that we will come to know. That next we are starting another chapter at Ram's house. It is Saturday, May 23, 1885. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting in the drawing room of the ground floor of Rama's house, Dr. Ramachandra Dattva. So that is the it is Rama. This is Ramchandra Dattva. He was a doctor, and he was very devoted to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. He was the one who is to tell people, giving the lectures also. In those days when Sri Ramakrishna was not that way popular or known to the people in those days, he used to say he is God, he is Avatar, in his own way. Because of his tremendous faith, he used to argue he must be the God, otherwise it is impossible for him to. So that is this is Rama. This is Rama's house. Sri Ramakrishna also used to like him. He was surrounded by the devotees and was conversing with them. Sri Ramakrishna. Mohima sat in front of him. Aim, Master Mahashaya, to his left, Paltu, Bhavanath, Nityagopal, Haramohan, and a few others sat around him. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The master inquired about several devotees. The master too, Sri Ramakrishna to Aim, hasn't the younger Naren arrived yet? Presently the younger Naren entered the room. Though when the master was inquiring about him, he entered. So the picture that the masters, the Mahendranath Gupta, is drawing is so unique. As if we can see the movie then like that. The Sri Ramakrishna sitting in the ground floor, the drawing room, people are around, who is on the left, who is on the right, who is so close to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna must be sitting on a higher something so near to him. And all these people now, slowly other devotees are also coming. So Sri Ramakrishna says, Acha. Presently the younger Naren entered the room. What about him? Master Moshe, who, sir? Sri Ramakrishna, Kishori. Isn't Girish Ghosh coming? What about Narendra? So Kishori, Girish, Narendra, the Sri Ramakrishna remembering them, and he wanted that they should also be there. This is the God's will. Sometimes, now we don't see Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is within us, inside us. But when you go to the devotee's house, when we are discussing about the religion. I try to imagine as if the Sri Ramakrishna himself has come and all devotees are sitting surrounding him, are trying to understand what is religion, and he is guiding them. And this Panchama Veda, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, every word of it, he only the guiding, only the knowledge, an unique way. The Veda, they give only the aphorisms, instructions. That's much. But here, who is the embodiment of Veda, that Parama Purusha, that Brahman in human form, the knowledge in human form, the truth in human form, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is sitting and then he is inquiring about the devotees, asking them to come. Why? Here that Maya will be withdrawn from their minds. He wants to help them. It is his Maya that has, but some people, they have understood it, they like to go beyond this. They are called in Sanskrit mumukshu. They are the true students of truth. They like to know the truth and go beyond this suffering. And God as Guru, at present Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna helping them. And he is inquiring about them, and he is happy that they are coming. Where is Kishori, where is Girish Ghosh, where is Narendra? A few minutes later, Narendra arrived and saluted Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna to the devotee. It would be fine if Kedar were here. He agrees with Girish. Now, Sri Ramakrishna, that was how he used to teach. He will be asking the devotees to discuss among themselves, within themselves, so that he will listen and then rectify, will guide them. The same way, even today we are doing. We have different type of the small groups called study circles, and we ask them that you better read. Some of you will read and the others will discuss. Some will raise the question and others will answer, try to answer. If not, then you better note down the questions and doubts, and you call it one Swamiji, contact one Swamiji, and then discuss about that, ask the question to the Swamiji. The one group is there in Colorado, they do in this way, and many other places, the Minnesota and Nashville and all these places, they study and then their question, answer, discussions are there. The same tradition, but here the God himself. And now we are taking the help of that God and his instructions, which is now enshrined in this particular book called the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So we are reading from that book and trying to understand the religion properly. Ram had arranged a kirtan. With folded hands, the musician said to Sri Ramakrishna, "Sir, can I begin if you give the order?" So the Sri Ramakrishna said, "Okay." The musician started the kirtan. Kirtan is specifically, it is a description of Lord Krishna. That is called kirtana. Now Kali Kirtan is also there about the Mother Kali, but when it mentions only kirtan, it means is a song about the Krishna. But not only song, it is a storytelling type with the music, that they will be describing what the Lord Krishna did and what happened and all this. So that is almost like graphically they will be giving you telling you the story through music and melody. So Sri Ramakrishna listening to them. As Sri Ramakrishna heard the sound of the drum, he went into ecstatic mood. While listening to the prelude of the kirtan, he plunged into deep samadhi. Now we understand that prelude means they are going to give a particular portion. The Krishna, he is now coming to meet the people of the Brajadhama, and then this will happen, that will happen. They give a brief description about what they are going to sing. And sometimes it will be all this, the joyful, and sometimes the Krishna is leaving, and that also painful. All they will first say, and then they will start describing and singing. Those who have heard it, this is really wonderful. And those who can understand the language, of course. And that language, not only language, that is a very special type of tunes are there when they are singing. Now here, the moment they started telling the prelude, immediately Sri Ramakrishna went into that samadhi. Why? Because the hints about that, so this is called the mind is completely pure. What is this purity? There is no pulling back to the worldly things. Oh, I am sitting with these people, I have to talk to them, and these are the things. Nothing like that. The mind is completely free. The moment he heard about that description, his mind went into that particular time and he lost his present physical condition completely. So that is called samadhi. His mind is now into that condition where they are describing. So deep samadhi. He plunged. He placed his leg on the lap of the Nitya Gopal, and who was sitting near him. The devotee too was in an ecstatic mood. He was weeping. The other devotees looked on intently. The devotees who are watching Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna feel how blessed they were. So they could see the transformation, how a human transforming into God. We have seen the pictures, we have seen the images. There's sometimes they make the image of the Shiva meditating. And we know, oh, this is the posture, this is the meditation. But when we see someone who is going into that deep samadhi, that is unique. He was talking with us, and now suddenly, as if he is dead, his body is only left over there, no sign of life, where his mind has gone. And then again he will come back. That was so common in Sri Ramakrishna's life. That's why the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna means, it is a really, really unique character. And nowhere in the history of the spirituality, we don't see these in anyone's life. Those who can understand the seriousness of this. Master Maharshya giving us the casual description. Sri Ramakrishna was there, he drank the water, he said, okay, start the music. The moment they started, the moment he heard, immediately he went into ecstasy, forgetting the outer consciousness. Then when they were describing about the Lord Krishna and what he is going to do, his mind was transported into that time, a time of the Lord Krishna. And he was really weeping, crying. Why? Because of the emotion, because of the love. Then after that, slowly he came back to regaining partial consciousness. Sri Ramakrishna said, from the Nitya to the Leela, and from the Leela to the Nitya. Nitya and Leela to Nitya. Now friends, these are Sanskrit words, these terminologies, they use to mention one that is purely the Brahman. And pure Brahman, there is no activity at all. That is called Nitya. And Nitya can be again said the Sat. It is all existence. And nothing is there. No Leela. Leela means different activities. The Leela represents the universe, this world, these activities, this samsara that we see. That is called Leela. So many things are going on, happening. And Nitya is completely nothing is there. Why? Because the Sattva, Raja, Tama, these three qualities are in completely equilibrium condition. There is no changes. Those who are following this lecture or having the background of the Vedanta will understand that there are two conditions there. One, stillness. The consciousness is there, of course it is conscious, but no activity at all, which has been wonderfully depicted in the Lord Shiva and Kali. The people they describe, not knowingly properly, about the goddess Kali killing these, that is all stories. But the true thing is, the Shiva is the pure consciousness, inactive. Kali, consciousness, active. So that same condition, Nitya and Leela. If we call the Lord Shiva, who is lying down as a dead person, pure consciousness, but no activity, that is called Nitya. And the same consciousness, when acting, called Kali. So Nitya, Leela, we can say Leela as the Ma Kali. So Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning it goes from here to there and there to here. Some of the Vedantins, absolute Vedantins like the Ajatavada and all that, they don't believe in the Leela. But Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, now we will note how he mentioned. He said, from the Nitya, that means the absolute, to the Leela, the phenomena. And from the Leela, from the activities, to the Nitya, to the absolute, beyond any activities. In Vedanta they say, whoever, you may call it God or the Brahman or the Paramatma, whatever it may be, when it is without any activity, the three gunas that they have noticed, Sattva, Raja and Tama, the very good quality, very bad quality, and in between, Sattva, Tama and Raja, that changes position. Immediately activity comes. The Leela is full of that, permutation and combination of these three qualities. Then along with that, the two powers, they will cover the actual thing, original thing, and superimpose something else on that, it goes on. When all these five is active, that is called Maya. Maya is a word they have used, and sometimes some other philosophers they call it Prakriti, but some differences are also there, subtle differences. The Maya, so Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning ever Maya. When we are in the activity, of course it is activity, but of whom? Same God. Here slowly he will take us to that situation, that position. He is telling Nitya and Leela. And what is your idea? He is asking Nitya Gopal. And Nitya Gopal was a blessed one. When the God was in that form, he was keeping his holy leg on him, the feet on him. And he was getting the touch. Obviously, his mind got completely purified. When the Sri Ramakrishna is asking him, what is your idea? From Leela to Nitya, from Nitya to Leela, what is your idea? Nitya Gopal said, both are good. Both are good. We will come to know what is Sri Ramakrishna's idea. what Sri Ramakrishna thought about it. Then Sri Ramakrishna closed his eyes and said, "Is it only this? Does God exist only when the eyes are closed and cease to exist when the eyes are open?" Friends, these are truly the very important words. Now, majority of us, almost all the human society, they have developed a sort of philosophy, a sort of practices. We call it religion, and we call it darshana, or the philosophy, whatever. Every corner, every human species are having this. Without this, it is impossible. They cannot survive without religion. And there, they think in their own way. Some are very primitive type, some are trying to develop. But this Vedanta is the highest form of that. It is not boastfully that we are telling that this is the highest. No, this is all this slowly developing. A group of people in India, they got the opportunity to research, and slowly they brought this into this height. And then, even then some people were thinking that there is no creation at all, like the Ajata Vada, Ajata. The Vedantin students, they know this terminology. Ajata, it is not created. Some say it is created, but like this, like that, etc. Completely confused. If the God is this, or the Creator is this, which is there is no changes, and from that one Creator all these things have been created, so who is creating? How he is creating? What is the material with which he is creating? These questions, it was asked long back in the Rig Veda time. A few thousand years back, people were asking this. That is the human society, constantly using their brain, their intellect, and then trying to understand the truth. Somehow surviving, we have the money, and then let us earn some money, and then someday we will die. And that is not the life of the human society. Human society is completely different. They are not satisfied with all this. They want the permanent happiness. And for that, they are going on pursuing. And different type of spiritual leaders are coming, giving them different ideas. But the best and the easiest at present, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And there he is mentioning that this and that must be the same. Because the Creator has created this creation out of his own. The one is the Leela, and so many varieties. Variety came from what? From that one. So he is mentioning, and mentioning in a different way, he is mentioning if you close the eyes, that means you are not looking at the world and its creation and its varieties, and going back to the one. Is that only way? The God is only there? So today's discussion, where does God exist? The moment you ask this question to any religious group, immediately they will point the finger to the sky. God lives over there. God is not living here. God is not living here. What is all this then? God is only living in the sky? God is only living in the temple, in the churches, in the synagogue? Where the God is living? Not outside? That this is the way we have to understand. This is a high time, the 21st century. The people are sending the rockets to the moon, and they like to be there permanently. The rockets are going to research the sun. They are going so far and scaling one after another difficulties. Their intellect has become so sharp. Even then, about the God, if you are doubtful, And then we say that God is only this much and not that. That is your egoistic way of thinking. Whoever will say like that, that's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, he is embracing each and every one. Ajatavada, some people say it is good and good for them who like it. It's okay. But what is beautiful is this, every moment of our life, we are living as God, with God. Sri Ramakrishna is teaching this. Does God exist only when the eyes are closed and cease to exist when the eyes are open? The Leela belongs to Him, H capital. Leela belongs to Him to whom the Nitya belongs. See how he is explaining. That's why this book, every page, every line, and so excellent and the highest teaching he is giving. You should do this. Monday you should do like this. Tuesday you should do like this up to Friday or Saturday. Then you take rest. All these sorts of things are there. And we are bound and thinking that is the religion. Then after that what? The lot of bhajans are there, songs are there, singing, dancing, closing our eyes and doing some gesture, posture. No, it is the understanding. And the moment you understand that, you become completely changed. So friends, we will continue with the Sri Ramakrishna's words. He is telling, the Leela belongs to him to whom the Nitya belongs. And the Nitya belongs to him to whom the Leela belongs. To Mahima. My dear sir, let me tell you, Mahima, revered sir, both are according to the will of God. When the Sri Ramakrishna wanted to talk, this Mahima Charan, as because he read some scriptures and he used to feel and he used to think that is a knowledgeable person, he knows the scripture. When Sri Ramakrishna is saying something, interrupting him, he mentioned this. Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning to Mahima, my dear sir, let me tell you. Then there is a dash. He wanted to continue this sentence. Before that, the Mahima said, revered sir, both are according to the will of God. Just to express his opinion. Sri Ramakrishna, some people climb the 7th floor of a building and cannot get down. Sri Ramakrishna never accepted that or never pay any heed to the statement that he mentioned. It is belong to God. It is just that way people are talking. But what is that God? It belongs to God and it is the will of God. What do you mean? These are only simple words. Now Sri Ramakrishna is explaining, and so wonderfully, some people climb the 7th floor of the building and cannot get down. But some climb up and then at will visit the lower floors. Who are more strong, more acceptable? Those who have that capacity to go up and coming down. This is the thing. Once you go up to God, somehow withdrawing the mind, closing your eyes, not mixing with people, avoiding them, avoiding that. I won't eat this, I won't eat that. Oh, he is eating this. He is a sinner. I don't talk to him. So all these things we are going on doing, and where we are going. Then Sri Ramakrishna said, go up to the 7th floor and then you have the capacity to come down, and he sees the ground floor and the top 7th floor, and in between all the floors are made of the same thing. That is his idea. It is God is everywhere. When the mind goes up, a 7th floor, he said, means, the yogis, they say, Sapta Bhumi. From the Sapta Bhumi, the Muladhara, Swadhisthana, then Manipura, and like this it goes up to the Sahasrara, the Sapta Bhumi, the 7th floor. And when one goes to the 7th floor, he goes over there, it can't come down. That much is capacity. But Sri Ramakrishna wants us to be God Himself. We go over there and then we march into, no, not like that. He's telling you should have the capacity to come down because there is no fear of losing each and everything. The Muladhara and the Sahasrara belongs to the same God. Everywhere this God. Uddhava said to the gopis, "He whom you address as Krishna dwells in all beings. It is He alone who has become the universe and its living beings." Uddhava was a Gyani. Gyani means those who go through the path of knowledge. So he is mentioning to the gopis. Gopis means in the Braj, they were all devoted to Krishna, and Uddhava giving the advice. Whom you are talking like the Krishna, actually he dwells in all beings. That means he is the Paramatma. Is the Atma, dwells on all being, in all being. He alone who has become the universe and its living being. When the Krishna was there, a few people could understand him that he is the Paramatma and he is that Param Brahma in the human form. Very few. Majority of the people couldn't. But at the time of Ramachandra, very few. Because the condition, mind's condition, the God means something very big, very powerful, and somewhere in the sky he lives, like that some conception. Then slowly, slowly, as the intellect is developing and realizations developing, they came to know that that power about which we say that the God, it can take the human form, can be with us. A few, the Krishna could understand, they could understand Lord Krishna. This is the way they hear the one person, that is the great friend of Krishna, Uddhava, he is mentioning. Therefore I say, does a man meditate on God only when his eyes are closed? The only one time, after 24 hours, maybe hardly 1 hour or 2 hours, we are closing our eyes and meditating. Of course we should do that. In the beginning, that is the way we should learn. But Sri Ramakrishna asked us not to stop over there. 24 hours, it should be the presence of God. When you are talking with people, working, or giving a talk, or doing something, it's only God and God and God and God, nothing else. So this God conception should be always and every moment. That is his teaching. I say, does a man meditate on God only when his eyes are closed? Doesn't he see God, anything of God, when his eyes are open? Mahima, I have a question to ask, sir. A lover of God needs nirvana sometime or other, doesn't he? Now, Mahima read some scriptural books, particularly Upanishads, and he cannot come out because he is not accepting Sri Ramakrishna as the God himself. As Ramdatta, he accepted. Mahima, it's taking time for him. So he is arguing, and he is constantly coming to that path of knowledge, and his thinking is not that. Then Sri Ramakrishna is giving the answer. It can't be said that bhaktas need nirvana. According to some schools, there is an eternal Krishna, and there are also his eternal devotees. Krishna is spirit embodied, and his abode also is spirit embodied. Krishna is eternal, and the devotees are also eternal. Krishna and the devotees are like the moon and the stars, always near each other. You yourself repeat. Now, he is now giving the clue to the Mahimacharan, who was a little proud about his knowledge of Advaita. Some people they feel in that way. So Mahima, he was mentioning that what about the Nirvana? Nirvana means completely cessation, total annihilation of the ego. And in reply, Sri Ramakrishna gave, the devotee and the Lord, they are also eternal. And that eternal is the self also. Sat Chit Ananda. Sat means eternal, eternal existence. So obviously, when your ego is completely gone, then only you will see God, and the God in the form of Krishna, and you feel that you are with Him, and you are same knowledge, but you are enjoying. You are not merging. So this Sri Ramakrishna is indicating. Mahimas is asking, that's also true, that is possible, but he says, why that? You can get the enjoyment when you are with the God. So he is mentioning this. Then he is mentioning, what need is there of penance if God is seen within and without? If God is seen within and without, anta bahi yadi hari tapasa tata kim. Anta inside, bahi outside, yadi hari, if I see the God inside and outside, tapasa tata kim. Why I need the penance? Then again it says, na anta bahi yadi hari tapasa tata kim. And if I don't see the God, the manifestation of God, the divinity, inside and outside, then what is the use of doing it? Penances. Beautifully it mentioned, and it goes on saying like this, Aradhita yadi hari tapasa tatakim, no aradhita yadi hari tapasa tatakim. Birama birama brahman kim tapasya subatsa, braja braja dija shigram shankaram jnana sindhum, laba laba hari bhaktim vaishnavoktam supakkam, bhava niguda nibandha chedani kartarincha. Go to the knowledge, to the Shankara. He is the embodiment of the knowledge, and he will tell you that to me what you are searching, everything is that. And only with that knowledge you can go beyond the bondage of birth and death. So Sri Ramakrishna is just giving the hint. What need is there of penance if God is seen within and without? You have already received it, then what is the use of it? Then one of we have heard, and I told you many times, then in Belur Math, when the condition, the economical condition was very poor, then the sadhus were not getting, the monks were not getting proper food. Sometimes the doctor will prescribe a glass of milk and say, and they will bring that prescription and show it to the in charge of the kitchen. We call them Bhandari. And the Bhandari Maharaj, he'll say, oh, you need a glass of milk? Of course, doctor has prescribed. Then he will give a glass of milk. And he will sit before him and ask, drink, drink. Then he is drinking. When he has finished the glass, half glass, are you getting the strength? And now, just a glass of milk means what? For a few days you have to drink. But Bhandari Maharaj knew that the situation, he won't be able to provide that. As the doctor has prescribed, he will do that, and he will ask him. And after drinking, have you got the strength? He said, yes, Maharaj. If he says no, oh, you see, you have drank the whole glass of milk and you have not got back the strength. So, if he says yes, you will say, oh, you have got back that strength, so no more milk. And if he says no, oh, it is of no use, even after finishing the whole glass, you are not getting the strength. So, that is the funny stories still there for we are here. In our time, it was not like that. It is much earlier, very, very poverty-stricken time. but they were very joyful people. They used to have fun like that. Antar bahi yadi hari tapusha tatakim. You have already realized the God inside and outside. Why then the austerity? And if you have not, then why then the austerity? So this is the way they always discussed. And then Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning the devotees listen silently to the master, and Sri Ramakrishna asked Mahima, laughing, "What is the thing you enjoy most?" Mahima smiling, "Nothing, sir. I like mangoes." Mahima is trying to avoid. You see, you can understand, though he was sitting in front of God, and this person studying the scripture to realize God in the form of Brahman, in the path of knowledge, but he was not understanding. When the Sri Ramakrishna wanted to know what is his idea, instead of surrendering, he said, "Oh, I don't know, I like mango." The Sri Ramakrishna didn't mention anything. He liked him, but he was like that. "Master," Sri Ramakrishna smiling, "all by yourself? Or do you want to share them with others?" See, this is the intellect of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. This Mahima and others, they were well read, well versed in the scripture. And Sri Ramakrishna, when he is talking with these people, how wonderfully he is putting the words. Now, I like to eat mango. Immediately he is asking, all by yourself or like to share with others? And Mahima smiling, "I am not so anxious to give others a share. I may as well eat them all by myself." The master, "But do you know my attitude?" Friends, we will close over here. This is the attitude of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And those who are following the path of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, those who like to follow the path of Sri Ramakrishna, so he is the embodiment of the God in person, in the human form. What is his attitude? He said, "I accept both the Nitya and the Leela, the eternal and also the creation. Doesn't God exist if one looks around with eyes open? After realizing Him, one knows that He is both the Absolute and the universe. It is He who is the indivisible Satchidananda. Again, it is He who has become the universe and its living beings. One needs sadhana." See, that is the reason the Ramakrishna mission, when Swami Vivekananda established, he gives this. He said, when you can see God by closing your eyes, why can't you see God opening your eyes? Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat. In the Ishopanishad, the very first verse, first line it mentioned, Ishavashyam idam sarvam. Each and everything, there is no difference. Only these are the holy things, these are the godly things, all are nothing like that. This is the Hinduism. When you talk about Hinduism, some people are becoming so narrow, they don't know anything of Hinduism. And they are thinking all their ego, and then they they're boasting in that way, and they are thinking they are great Hindus. Nonsense. They don't know about Hinduism. Hinduism is excellent. And when that will die, all best thing in the world from the human society will go away. Ishavashyamidam sarvam, whatever you see is nothing but that God. That is the knowledge of the rishis, and the same knowledge in the present day, in the modern time, the God in the form of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna describing. Do you know my attitude? I accept both Nitya and Leela. And that is the Satchidananda, whom you call Satchidananda, the ultimate goal of the Jnanis. He has become, and Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, he gave it to Swami Vivekananda. And Swami Vivekananda, after becoming Swami Vivekananda, when he went back to India, he started a new monastic organization, and he gave a beautiful goal. And what is that? Atmana mokshartam jagat hitaya cha. Cha in Sanskrit and. The both. You have to realize yourself. At the same time, you should serve the humanity. Why? Because that is the living gods and goddesses. You have to understand that. This is the unique way. So now 125th year of this organization, Ramakrishna Mission, this whole year they are celebrating so many different ways. This type of ideas are explained, defined by the holy monks. And we have also celebrated here, and we will be continuing. But this organization is unique because they are the first. Vivekananda, he forced us to do this. And this is because Vivekananda's guru, Sri Ramakrishna's idea was, attitude was, to see everything as God. Friends, we will stop over here, and then the next day we will slowly go to another. One needs sadhana, he mentioned, and then he will be mentioning that this is possible only by those who go to the holy person. Who was the holy person? We will discuss about that.
So Ashish is asking a question. He's saying, I have a question about Hari Nam Sankirtan. Lord Hari has descended down for us in many forms for us. How is then that Kirtan is only identified with Krishna?
Those, see, Krishna, he became a very popular god as because he accepted different type of mental attitudes. There's sometimes, that human being, they like to love God as their children. So Santana Bhava, they will be having that. And the Ma Jashoda used to love Krishna according to that. Then the Bandhu Bhava, as a friend. Then as a beloved, as a lover. Then as that master. So like this, so many. I think that other day I gave the talk on this. So all these 5 different attitudes of the human being, that one can flow to the Krishna. So he became very popular god, and the description about him, obviously, the different poets, singers, writers, they wrote like that. All are same, but the Krishna, that attitude of the Krishna, or we can say the God who manifested as Krishna, became very popular. First. Secondly, the ordinary people can also come and accept that. You don't need any other things. For the Vedanta, you have to study, you have to do. For the Krishna, just take the name of God. There are naturally many people, and they become popular. That is the reason.
Rishikesh is asking, when devotees around Sri Ramakrishna were in an aesthetic mood, what terminology can be used to understand?
The devotees of Sri Ramakrishna
were in aesthetic mood around Sri Ramakrishna. What terminology can be used to understand?
So that is the same terminology, means they were also in that ecstatic mood. They were also having that feeling when Sri Ramakrishna, the God, sitting, and naturally whatever his thought was there, that was touching the hearts of the devotees. They also felt the same. Just now, as I was reading, the Master Masha described when Sri Ramakrishna went into deep samadhi. And all devotees also, they were also influenced by the same, and they were enjoying the presence of the holiness. And they were not talking. They were gazing at the Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, and they were observing him, and they were looking at God. So naturally, that they were feeling that joy, we can say they too were in ecstatic mood.
Virendra is asking, why do we often get entangled in worldly affairs, leaving japa and dhyana aside? It's very painful. It pains my heart. I pray to Mother to save me from temptations.
Good. That is the only way, Virendra, because we are fighting against God's power. We are trying to reach God, but as if some people they are just fighting against us. They won't allow us to reach to the Master. So who are they? They are the powers of God, and that is called Maya. And today's discussion, as Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is mentioning, only the Master, who's all this Maya, that's only he can control. So you are doing the best thing, right thing, praying to the God, and in the form of Mother. Mother is also in the God in the form of Mother. You are praying to her, and obviously, when she will listen to the prayer, you will find all these apparent things that is not allowing him to do the japa, will go away. You will get ample opportunity to japa and meditation. Thank you.
Arup Das is asking, as we are suffering from our karma, why God has not given us good thought?
So Arup Das, this is good and bad, both God has given. And he has given us the discriminative capacity also. And he has seen the teachers also. And he has given the scriptures. Now we have to do that. Sometimes the bad thoughts are coming. We have to fight against our mind. And how to fight? Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, at that moment, you should loudly call on God and dance and clap your hand and take the name of God. Then those thoughts will go away. The moment those thoughts go away, then you are free again. So that is the way, and that is called sadhana. So this is the way it goes. But once you understand this is only God, then there will be no problem. So you just like a little baby, never cares about what is happening around, just sitting on the lap of the mother and enjoying whatever the mother is doing or giving to the baby. The same way you have to think in that way, that I am your little boy, so please allow me to sit on your lap and protect me. That should be the prayer, and things will change. Thank you, friends. Let us chant this mantra and conclude. Niranjanam nityam anantarupam bhaktanukampa dhrita vigraham vai Ishavataram parameshamidyam tam Ramakrishnam shirasa namama. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.